Hi, I'm Sarah Alexandra Marks. You're listening to the Don't Go Out There podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, let's jump into the film review. This week, we are concluding our free-themed month with Brother Dustin's pick. Dustin, you want to announce your pick and why you picked it?
Yeah, I went with 2023's The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I saw this one in the theater on August 23rd, 2023. It was another one of those. I didn't see any marketing for it, no trailers, nothing like that. I just happened to open the Regal app, see that it was a horror movie, and it's like, yeah, let's go check it out. I think it's a solid movie. There's good acting, good story, good drama and tension, and a great score, which I'll mention a lot tonight, which, of course, the score is great. Bear McCreary did it, who's no stranger to our show. I think Corey Hawkins was great as Clemens. This is his second appearance on the show, as he was also in Kong Skull Island, and we'll see him again as we continue through The Walking Dead eventually on the series. Some of the CG isn't that great, and it does have stretches where it slows to a snail's pace, but I think it's a solid movie overall.
I'll go next. I liked it. I didn't know what to expect with it, to be honest with you, but I quite enjoyed it. I thought the set pieces and the atmosphere of the movie was great. I was very impressed with the acting as well. I didn't know David Desmalchian was in it. I kind of gave him some, not him really, but I was just questioning the roles he was taking, Afraid and Boogeyman and Rosario. What are you doing? But this was a good movie. And I thought he was great in it. I loved his accent. I thought he pulled it off great. And I've seen online criticisms of not seeing more Dracula, but I like the usage of Dracula in this movie. I thought it was really good. I do have some qualms with it, but overall, I thought the movie was a very nice surprise, and I liked it.
Cool.
Well, I'm doing this scene by scene, so I'll just going to be short and sweet here. I fucking love this movie. I'll take it one step further. I love everything about it. It's as close to a perfect movie I've seen in a long time. I don't think any of it was slow. I didn't think the CG looked bad. To me, of course, obviously, the story keeps me compelled the entire time. And, that's even with me knowing, all right, well, this takes place, where in the Dracula lore. So you kind of knew what the story was, but I love it. Like I said, I think it's a perfect movie. Hey, guys, have anything else before we jump into the scene by scene, or?
I just the director is Andre Overdahl. I'm sure we all knew that, but I'm just a fan of his work. Autopsy of Jane Doe, this movie, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think he's a really underrated director, and if we ever do the drafts again, he's on my big board. But anywho, go ahead, Brian, whenever you're ready.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know any of that until you just said it. I looked at the credits and I saw his name, but his name didn't ring a bell, and I didn't look at his page. So I didn't know until just now that he directed those other movies. But you're right. It's pretty impressive resume.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get into it. We open up with a fantastic score, like Dustin mentioned, and some text telling us that on 6 August of the year of the Lord in 1897, when Mike thinks my birthday is, that the merchant ship Demeter washes ashore in Whitby, England. Shout out our British blood donors, Nina and Matt. But among its wreckage, the police find a log kept by our captain, Elliot, and we bust into the title card. We Tarantino this bitch and jump back 4 weeks earlier. We learn from an Elliot voiceover there that the Demeter has made port in Varna, Bulgaria, to receive cargo bound for London. The quartermaster, Wojciech, is tasked with filling the crew, and we meet a doctor from Cambridge, Clemens, who is denied passage at first. A shipment of multiple large wooden crates is delivered to the dock by local Romanian workers. However, upon delivery of the cargo, they will not proceed, instead declaring that they must leave the area before sundown. One of the men pays the quartermaster, Wojciech, and another crewman, Olgarin, a large sum of money and wishes Demeter a safe voyage before departing with the others. While helping to load one of the crates, the old man is startled upon recognizing a dragon emblem on the container and accidentally releases the tackle rope, causing the crate to fall. Clemens witnesses the accident and rushes to save Elliot's grandson, Toby, from being crushed by the loose crate. The newly hired man declares the dragon emblem a bad omen and leaves. Out of gratitude for his intervention, Elliot hires Clemens as a replacement. We see the ship leave port and get a tour of the ship via Toby and learn from the captain's log that the date is now 6 July and that this is going to be Elliot's final voyage. He is retiring, and Wojciech is being promoted to El Capitan. Later that night, we see a rustling below as one of the cargo boxes open. The next morning, at what I assume is breakfast, the crew discusses money and brothels. We find out Mr. Clemens is on a quest to understand the world. Huckleberry, the dog, starts barking, and Toby is told to go below to see the livestock.
Yeah, not sure why, but the text on screen, like you mentioned, Brian, immediately caught my eye. You know, I've seen Dracula and Nosferatu, so I know of Dracula being transported on the ship. But I'm excited for this new take and like this whole movie being about that. I liked it. The captain's text was terrifying. God have mercy on your souls. Like this movie's atmosphere really sucked me in right away. I thought the shots were beautiful of the countryside. This film was shot in Berlin, Germany, and Malta, and I thought the film looked great. And like I mentioned in my opening thoughts, I wasn't aware of David Dastmalchian it being in the film. You know, I guess I only look up IMDb for like Bates Motel and Walking Dead for all the future seasons, but I had no clue that Jack Delroy was in this, and I thought his accent was incredible. I thought it was pretty tough that he told Clemens that he basically had soft hands, that college education ain't going to help out. We just need some muscle to load this ship up. Not the first movie I've seen this week with a kid almost being crushed over a coin. If you know, you know. Shout out to Final Destination Bloodlines. Clemens earned his way on the boat, but to be honest, if a blind, crazy guy tells me that that mark on the side of that container is evil, you know, I'm going to go ahead and believe that guy and probably just not go. I laughed at Toby. The faster we eat the animals, the less crap I have to clean up. You know, mood as a kid. I'm not trying to do none of that cleaning up shit. Captain Elliot, some good review talk here, but I thought he had an exceptional narration voice. I haven't looked at the actor's other work, but hopefully he's got some voiceover work because he's got a good voice. I'm gonna butcher. I can't remember how to pronounce Wojciech. I think's how you say David's name. Earned his promotion in this movie, and I'm proud of him because he didn't do it with Deals with the Devil in this one. And fudge this, no way I could sleep with rats crawling all over me, trying to censor my language. Just kidding. Fuck that. I hate rats. Could not sleep if they were crawling all over me. I thought it was a good opening. I'm invested into the world that's being built and the atmosphere. I thought it was really good.
I appreciate the title cards explaining the backstory. I mean, to me, there's no need to give a scene showing it develop when it's already a 2-hour movie, so that was welcome. And I love the score and the sound design of this open. For some reason, though, the narration of the reading of the captain's log here just didn't work for me. Like, it doesn't bother me later on in the movie. I like it later on, but I don't, for some reason right there, it just seemed kind of out of place. I don't know. Maybe it's because we hadn't met the captain yet. Anyway, then we get a very brief look at Dracula lunging at us right before the title card, which I think was effective. Then, you know, I think the set designs and costumes were really good, felt authentic for the era. I like to think that, you know, I wouldn't be spooked out by a picture of a dragon on a box, but Buddy was pretty convincing that it was bad news. So I probably would have left the crew with him. Absolutely. I do think that them dropping the box just so Clemens could save the boy was an unnecessary way to get him on the ship, but it's okay. Like, I don't know. I think there's a different way they could have written that to develop, but it's fine. When we see the crew laughing and dancing, And then we go below deck. I love the ominous score fading in. It reminds us that, despite this crew's having a good time, this isn't a happy story. So I like that. And I like the last bit here with the men sitting around the table talking about what they'll do with their shares. This opening set of scenes does a good job of introducing the story and characters, and it feels very natural. So not many issues at all so far.
I'm surprised you don't know Liam Cunningham, but then again, I forgot that you hadn't seen Game of Thrones, and I can't think of anything else that he's been on. So that
Yeah,
makes sense, actually.
he's always Sir Davos to me.
Clemens joins Toby below, and the ship's animals are losing their goddamn minds. They hear a crate fall in the cargo hold, where Clemens finds a woman inside, buried in what appears to be dirt, barely alive. He performs a blood transfusion to treat what he believes to be an infection. Back at the cargo hold, we see the fingernails of a creature emerging from the crate with the dragon logo, as we see Clemens fighting for the young woman's life. After Elliot agrees, Toby is put in charge of watching her and heads on deck to steer the boat. There, Clemens and O'Garin see a mysterious figure on the deck, tracking maggots. The following night, the ship's cook finds all the animals aboard the ship are dead, including Huckleberry. They start to point fingers at Clemens, particularly Petrovsky, calling him a Dothraki savage, also from Game of Thrones, and O'Garin says there's evil on board. The crew, fearing a rabies outbreak now, throws the carcasses overboard. We cut to 3 days later and hear how the food is running sparse already, and the storms are ravaging just as bad, with still 2 weeks left to travel. That night, Clemens and the ship's cook can't sleep. When Clemens is stopped and told that the rats are no longer on board, and that a boat without rats, such a thing is against nature. Go ahead, Nico.
Fuck rats. Anywho, as Clemens looks around the ship, my first thought was I can't help but think like how authentic and good this ship set piece is. I thought it looked fantastic. I squirmed seeing that giant needle. You know how bad that would hurt having to have blood drawn from that gauge size needle. Oof. Voyage is all business. He's ready to toss this chick in the sea, no question. Like, hell yeah, brother. Fuck her, I guess. Clemens is the only nice person here, and he keeps getting crapped on for trying to help the poor lady. Like, what the heck, man? A nice jump scare with Dracula appearing in Olga and Spyglass. I really like that. This is a classic trope in horror with a dog barking at an entity, at a monster, etc. But damn, I was not expecting us to see the dog and all the livestock mutilated like they were. I know the don't kill the dog crowd was upset about that, but it was effective. I got to give them credit for that. If you're on this boat, you must be very worried about what the hell is going on, right? Because, what person would just go do that? Olgren waits until Clemens is called a dark evil doctor before chiming up about evil being on board. Could have chimed up a little quicker before the man got hated on. I like how the film hasn't shown too much of Dracula on board yet as well, building a creepy atmosphere with him and the rough seas. Like Mike and all of us have mentioned a lot in the past, like being out on the sea is a character and an atmosphere in itself, and that's scary enough. 2 more weeks on sea and only cabbage and potatoes to eat sounds like pure hell to me. Didn't look like they had any seasoning either, so that shit looked terrible. And this last thing I got, just another good tense set of scenes that I'm really invested into the movie now. It's been a good pick so far.
Yeah, when Clemens goes below, it sounds very creepy and ominous. We get random creaks and a very faint score. I think it was really well done. Decent jump scare when he finds the woman too, but given the look of her, I'm with Wolchek, man. She definitely looks disease-ridden. Toss her. Then our first real look at Dracula. What a rough-looking fella. They keep him out of focus, and we don't get a clear look, but he definitely looks like he's going to be trouble for the crew. But a great look at him when Olgarin sees him up close through his looking glass. That's a great jump scare. I appreciate that we don't spend half the movie building. Like, action's already popping off, and that's great pacing to me. Because when Joseph finds all the dead animals, even though the crew isn't aware of what's aboard, they know something is bad. So we're definitely ramping up nicely. Tensions are high, and one guy uses slurs to describe Clemens, but Olgarin knows what's up. I thought this was another good scene where, and we cut from it to see Dracula weak and shuddering. It's just good stuff. Really good work after Clemens consoles Toby. It's dimly lit and not centered in the frame, but we see Dracula crawling below deck, and it looked awesome. Given the stowaway blood transfusions and her condition not changing, yeah, cut bait, boys. Toss her. If nothing else, it would put the crew at ease a bit, and that's, morale counts for something. Then I hear what Joseph is saying, but I'd be praising God if the rats were gone. Vile and disgusting creatures. This is another good set of scenes here, and we're moving along.
Steve Petrovsky hear a loud thump on deck and go off to explore, calling out for Abrams. He finds one of the grates torn apart and hears what sounds like something trying to take a breath and struggling to do so. He comes across the creature lying on the deck when it springs up and slits his throat, eventually breaking his neck and feeding on his blood. Clemens goes searching and finds the hole and a knife, then panics and rings the ship's bell, alerting everyone. Wojciech accuses Clemens at first, but is put in his place pretty damn quickly, telling them about the bite marks on the animals, and right then they're interrupted by Anna, the woman in the crate, who has awakened and tries to warn the crew but is shut down. She eventually just tells Clemens about a monster from Transylvania, a creature that feeds on the blood of humans. In her town, she says, they call him Dracula, and that she was given to him as a slave of blood so that he would leave the town in peace. She says that Dracula is already aboard the ship and looking to feed, revealing several bites on her body. Wearing the skin of a man and drinking their blood at night, she warns they will never leave it. We cut later that night. The storm is raging and the crew is talking about the woman being bad luck. I feel that. We then see a first-person POV from the creature as it stalks Larson and Olgarin on deck, using their knocking against them, declaring, "I am the one who knocks." That's a Breaking Bad reference, Nico. Dracula slams Larson's face into the deck and smiles at Olgarin, giving chase and taunting him. They find Olgarin bitten and in the ship's mast, where they're able to pull him down and restrain him to a table as he's presumably gone mad. Elliot assigns 2 armed men on ship at all times and orders Voschek to check everywhere on the ship. Captain Elliot asks Toby to shine up his spyglass for him and leaves him alone in his room. As the sun goes down, we see Olgarin break loose from his restraints and begin hunting. Toby goes exploring but runs across Olgarin, who he escapes from, or I guess it at this point, and is able to hide himself in the captain's quarters, hiding under the table as Olgarin busts his head through the door. What you think about that?
Well, I'm just going to make a confession to everyone who listens to no one's surprise. I have not seen Game of Thrones nor Breaking Bad, so yeah, I didn't get those references, so appreciate that. But anywho, back to the last voyage. Dracula, he got some quickness, easily 100 in the Madden ratings. Man, what a leap that was. Per IMDb, Dracula's look is based off of Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror, and I'm so thankful he doesn't have a huge mustache in this movie. If you know, you know. Voskek's only solution is to throw something overboard. It's like, damn, dude, is that just your resolution for everything, man? Anna makes quite the entrance. If you have something important to tell the crew, a calm approach is probably needed. She kind of just went off. Yeah, don't do that. It is a good touch that the crew is beginning to question a lot more and more and not just go with Voschek's, God, I'm butchering his name over and over, his line of thinking. I like this exposition dump between Anna and Clemens explaining Dracula and their impending doom. And I love the shot of Dracula appearing behind Larson in the lightning flash. I thought that was very effective. What kind of plan is this Olgarin climbing up the ropes? You see this man's Dracula's hops? He will catch you, no problem. Dracula's look, to me, was like very Gollum-esque. That's Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure. I thought the look was okay. I do agree with, I don't know who said it, but I don't really love the like CGI looks of his face up close, but overall, I think his look is good. Overall, I think it's fine, though. Wish Clemens and Anna had told the rest of the crew about Dracula at this point. It makes no sense not to have. Searching the ship is a good idea, but to me, you should have done that after all the livestock were slaughtered. Like, what are you waiting for? Shout out to Jennifer Love Hewitt. Olgarin tweaking and revealing his clouded eyes was a scary scene, as was his reveal to Toby. I loved it. And yeah, Toby, telling the scary guy to go away always works. Haven't you seen a horror movie, kid? And this is the last thing I got. If Olgarin ever recovers, he's going to have one hell of a case of CT banging his head on that damn door.
Yeah, finding that big hole after all the bad luck so far, I'm out. Like, I don't know where I'd go, but I wouldn't walk straight into Dracula's reach, I tell you that much. Not the best looking CG on Dracula here, but it's far from the worst we've seen on the show, and it was a gruesome kill, so it made up for it. I love Clemens's reply when he's accused of killing Petrovsky. That was good. Anna finally gets out of bed, and they don't even hear her out. Tough crowd. They kind of deserve whatever happens to them at this point. But then when Clemens talks to her, we get the Dracula lore, and that's good stuff. I like the way that was introduced. I like the tension when the 2 crew members hear the knocking. It's dark, it's rainy, and the score is solid again. Then Dracula jumps down, and he jumps down like he hopped off the bus in Fortnite and bashed Buddy's head in. So that was just good action. Then the blood dripping down on Toby was a great touch. Really solid reveal of where Olgarin was. And then Olgarin reanimating was a cool visual, and him emerging from the shadows with Toby was a great reveal. He looked like Rob Zombie from the Hellbilly Deluxe album cover. And him banging his head through the door, that was pretty haunting. It's another decent set of scenes, but I will say this, it seems like the pacing is off a little bit. Like we got going pretty quickly. And even though we've had some kills and some Dracula sightings, it feels like in between those, it slows down a lot. So that's what I meant by it slows.
All right, we open up on the deck as Clemens hears the banging through the ship, and he and Elliot know it's Toby. We cut back inside the captain's quarters as Olgarin stops trying to get in the door and turns and attacks Clemens as Wojciech subdues him, and we see Dracula is inside the captain's room with Toby as well, where he bites him, cross dangling from his neck and everything. We fast forward to the next morning to see Elliot giving blood transfusions to Toby and hear another captain's log as we see a vampiric Olgarin now tied to the mast by the crew. As the sun comes up, he bursts into flames and is put out of his misery by an armed Voschek. Later that evening, Anna and Clemens arm themselves as well and decide themselves to go hunting for it. We cut to the deck where Joseph takes off with a rowboat and then immediately cut back below deck to Anna and Clemens. They find his crate, but Dracula is nowhere to be found. We then cut back to Joseph on his rowboat, and shit ain't looking good for him as we hear wings flapping nearby and hear Dracula mocking his prayers before he lands on a boat in a creepy-ass scene. We hear the bell ringing by the person on watch and see the rowboat make its way back to the ships full of murder. Voschek goes below to tell the captain as they look at Toby, who has passed away sometime in the night.
Man, shout out to Maxine's dad. That murder, it always hits for me. So appreciate you keep doing that. I wish we could have seen more of the struggle with Olgarin before cutting back to Toby. And I like that this movie has Dracula attacking for all of us to see as well. You know, I like I mentioned last week in a Violent Nature, I like that Johnny attack. He wasn't waiting for one-on-one. Like, he just went and did it. I like that. Director Andre Overdahl wanted Dracula to feel different, more animalistic, more feral, and want him to feel like he is fragile, but also desperate and dangerous, like an addict who needs his blood. I like that touch. I like those characteristics as well. The effects on Olgarin are fantastic, and this sunrise scene looks great as well. What a horrible way to die. The crew losing it amongst themselves is formulaic, but I like it. It all makes sense, and it's acted well. Like, this is how people would act, even if it is something we've seen in several times in previous horror movies. Unsettling line from Anna saying her village has been controlled forever by Dracula and has no idea how to kill it. Like, that's real. And I thought it was funny, her knowing how to load up the gun. I thought it was hilarious because, you know, he's like, I don't like guns, but then she just walks over and just loads it up. I thought that was great. Joseph knocks his fellow shipmate out. I hope he gets what's coming to him. Dracula looked terrifying in his reveal to Joseph. I know that's not good review talk, but you know, just watch the movie and you'll know what I'm talking about. I thought it was another good set of scenes. I'm really liking the movie, Dustin.
Yeah, we get great tension when the crew heard Toby banging on the walls, and then Olgarin attacks Clemens. And then we see Dracula in the room with Toby. When the crew sees Dracula through the door, I mean, that's just elite. This was stressful stuff. And this movie actually has the guts to have the kid get got. Wow. I don't know about y'all, but I never thought Toby was in any real danger the first time I saw it, because movies rarely go that route. And the score change was perfect, just added to the heaviness of the situation. Seeing Olgarin go up in flames as the sun rises, that was awesome too. The crew has no idea what's going on and thinks that he just needs some water, but he combusted. And it looked really good too. Joseph had the right idea. I'd be taking a rowboat and getting out of there ASAP. It didn't work out for him, but that's the chance I would take too. Clemens and Anna finding Dracula's box. Look, get every able-bodied man and throw that John overboard now. This is a solid set of scenes again.
On deck, Clemens informs Elliot that Toby's body has been wrapped in parts of cloth for his burial at sea. Elliot informs Clemens that the devil below now plots their course and means to kill them one by one. During Toby's funeral, the captain believes he sees Toby moving. He unwraps him, only for Toby to suddenly attack. Now vampire Toby then burns in the sunlight and severely burns his grandfather Elliot, before Clemens is able to throw him into the ocean. Voschek and Clemens share a moment where Clemens vows to kill the beast once he understands it. The remaining crew want to destroy the ship and drown Dracula to prevent it from reaching London. Voschek asks to be the one to sink the ship. Clemens, goes to Elliot to try to tell him their plan as the captain pulls a gun on Anna, who has now entered the room, wanting to capture it to save Toby somehow. Poisoned by the grief. Anna talks him out of it, and Elliot volunteers to go down with the ship, sailing it out to sea. Later that evening, as the fog hinders the crew's eyesight, Dracula emerges from the darkness. He picks off Abrams with haste, pulling him from the crow's nest, then goes after Voschek, who manages to seemingly trap him below. We see Voschek putting the hole in the ship with an axe as Dracula approaches him from behind, killing him. Clemens finds his dead body and heads to the deck, where we see Dracula find Elliot tying himself to the ship's wheel and kills him as well. Clemens comes across his body, and the next set of scenes is the ending.
Yeah, I love this opening part of this set of scenes. It's got to be tough knowing you got to push your grandson overboard. But at least Elliot was right. He was still alive. Hell of a jump scare. It got me with him sitting up and igniting on fire. It was a powerful scene that was acted very well. We've said it since the beginning of our show. I respect when a movie is brave enough to kill a kid. And in this situation, just like we talked about in Walking Dead, this is something that would happen. It's believable that Dracula would get a hold of a kid to drink his blood. So I liked it. I like Clemens' line to Voschek. The living part of the ship is the crew, the people on board, the stories told, not the ship itself. David does a great job showing how tough it is for him to let go of the Demeter. Good exchange between Anna and Elliot, bringing him back to earth on the reality of Toby and cherishing the good in life. Where would I go, Mr. Clemens? And him having no answer to that, that was a very powerful scene as well. It's like this ship, his grandson, that's his life, and he don't have either now. Moment got big for Voschek, and he pissed down his leg. I know that tumble off the mast and through the wooden floor hurt like hell, though. They picked a terrible time to need to take the lifeboat on the open sea, though. You see them waves ripping out there? I think I'd test it out one more night versus Dracula and see if we had some calmer seas the next night. Dracula said, "Ain't no cross keeping me from sucking your blood, though. Good try, Captain Elliot, but that little necklace didn't do anything." I don't get why Dracula is bouncing from victim to victim. If he's drinking blood, why not drink one person empty? But it goes back to what Andre said about him wanting Dracula more feral, desperate. So I like that touch as well. I thought it was another good set of scenes. I'm ready for the ending. I don't really have too many negatives so far.
Realest words spoken in this movie. The captain just accepting their fate and saying they're a doomed crew. I mean, I'll be honest. I'd have a hard time right here not getting good and liquored up and walking the plank. It's a better way to go out than at the hands of Drac. A very dramatic moment when Captain thinks Toby's alive and he bursts into flames. I love the score here once again. And I like the plan here to abandon ship and the development that the captain is losing his mind. But it does go on a little long for me, and the film slows again. Dracula's appearance when they were waiting for him was great. The CG was concealed by the shadows, and then he started flying around the sails. That's good stuff. I thought that looked awesome. And we're lured into letting our guard down a little bit before he lunges at Volchek. Just good stuff. Good tension as Volchek is inevitably he gets got, and the rest of the crew is scrambling. And yeah, I'm ready for the ending as well.
Dying Elliot asks Clemens to let them know that he was true to his post and begins to yell, calling Dracula out on deck, saying he's afraid. Dracula pops up like fucking Rey Mysterio and knocks Clemens on his ass as Anna is bitten in a futile attempt to save Clemens as well. After fighting him off, Anna escapes and Dracula catches Clemens. It lifts him up, and as Clemens says he does not fear him, tells him that he will, while cutting his neck open with his fingernail slowly. Anna brings the mask down on Dracula as she and Clemens jump into the ocean. We catch up with the story where we started and see that the ship never sank, and we see Dracula escape. The next day, as Anna and Clemens float on debris, she reveals to him that she is now becoming a vampire after Dracula's bite. The blood transfusions only delayed the process. As the day dawns, not wanting to become a monster, Anna willingly gives herself to the dawning sun as Clemens drifts ashore. This is probably my favorite part. I don't know. I thought this was so damn cool. Arriving in London, Clemens goes to a local tavern where he draws Anna's portrait in his notebook. He hears the knocking signal from the Demeter's crew of all clear, and then sees Dracula dressed as an aristocrat, laughing at him. The vampire disappears, leaving the pub. Clemens sees Dracula's shadow and follows him. He vows for the memory and honor of his dead companions that he will kill Dracula and send him back to hell with Jason. Go ahead.
And Alison Lohman from Drag Me to Hell. But anywho, this ending, I liked it too. I wish the captain would have made it, but without Toby and his ship, he would have just been a shell of a person, kind of like I was just touching on. So, I mean, is it better for him to die here? I don't know, but I mean, he lost pretty much anything in his life he cared about. Clemens talked a lot of shit, but Dracula laid the smack down on his ass real quick. Dracula saying "you will" to Clemens was a tough line after him saying he wasn't afraid of him. The "you will," I thought, man, that was hard. Jumping overboard would be so scary. I know Dracula has been subdued, but floating at sea isn't much better in my eyes. I was really surprised that Anna dies too. I wanted her to live as well. Like, this movie threw me off. I was not expecting everyone but Clemens to die. I love the ending with Clemens being haunted by Dracula. And director Andre, this is the last thing I got. Director Andre Overdahl said the film was basically Alien, but on a ship, and I can see that 100%. I thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah, Clemens spent way too much time with the captain here. I mean, there is a murderous Dracula on board. You got to stay on high alert at all times. And then he found him. Great look at Dracula standing in the distance and then spreading his wings, very menacing. And he ragdolled Clemens. You're right, Nico. Good looking effects of Anna struggling while being trapped under the wing. I thought that looked cool. The mask falling and trapping Dracula, it fell way too slowly for me to buy into. It's like it happened in slow motion. Why didn't Bro just move or fly away? So I didn't like that. Really dramatic stuff with Anna giving up and sailing off into the sunset. Well, sunrise, I suppose. And then I like the open-ended ending too. Clemens knows Dracula is out there somewhere, and hearing the knocks and seeing Dracula with the cane briefly before he disappears. I think the ending was really well done.
Absolutely. You guys got any fun facts at the moment?
I got a handful. All right. This movie spent 20 years in development hell, having the directors, writers, and the script itself changed several times. This film is set in the 1890s, and Clemens makes a point to note that he was a black graduate of Cambridge Medical School. Cambridge didn't admit black students to its medical school until around 20 years later, and the first black student to graduate with a medical degree didn't graduate until 1918, so that's a goof. In earlier drafts of the script, the main character was a Romanian peasant named Alec Radu, who was pursuing Dracula to avenge the murder of his son. Depending on the draft, the son was either the baby that Dracula fed to his brides in the original novel, or was kidnapped and fed upon while the vampire was on the road to Varna. David Dasmalchian had written a screenplay that was similar to this. When he presented it to a production company, they informed him it was already in production. He then auditioned to get a part in the film and ended up landing the role. Viggo Mortensen was attached to star for 2 years before ceasing involvement. That would have been interesting. Noomi Rapace and Ben Kingsley were cast as Anna and the ship's captain in 2010. Rapace left to work on Prometheus, so that's interesting. As you said, Nico, what the director said, this is basically Alien on a ship. And remember, Prometheus is the name of a ship. It's not what the hybrid baby was.
Is that a Prometheus?
And then the last one I've got, look, I don't remember if I've used this one before or not because I've been doing these a while, and David Dasmalchian's been in movies that we've covered, but David Dasmalchian was in Oppenheimer, great movie, with James Remar, great actor, who was in Wild Bill with David Arquette.
Nice. I don't have any fun facts, but I got the budget if you want me to shout that out real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. And then we'll get the trivia. I think we did them backwards, but go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. All right. Well, this movie did not do... A lot of people did not support cinema with this movie. I'll just leave it at that. But the budget was an estimated $45 million per IMDb, and the gross worldwide was $21,786,275. So it lost quite a bit of money. But hey, who doesn't lose quite a bit of money?
I mean, like I said, they had zero marketing. I didn't even know this movie was a thing until I just happened to see it in the Regal app. And not to mention, 20 years in development hell. That's going to hurt a movie. It's already starting out behind the 8 ball. So,
yeah, no, I get it. Brian, you got any fun facts, or you want to jump into the social media?
Let's jump into social media.
All right, I got the gram pulled up. M. Rue Stone commented, "I enjoyed the atmosphere in this movie." Me too. Like, the atmosphere might have been the best part of it. Like, that on that ship at nighttime with the ocean. That shit was good, man. Dana Tucker 48 commented, "I had to turn it off after Toby was killed, but manned up and finished the next day. Definitely worth a watch." Hell yeah. Horrorhead Heather 85 commented, Dracula was savage in this movie. Love the ancient primal design of him. I can see that. I've seen people complain online that he didn't look like Dracula, but I mean, they went with the Nosferatu route, so I can respect that. And Movies with Peter commented, I love this film. My audience was locked in. This would have been a cool movie to see in like Dolby Digital or IMAX. This would have been a nice movie to see. And that's it for the Graham.
It got one small theater in the Regal I went to, and it only got a couple shows a day. So,
wow.
Dolby and IMAX was out of the question for this one, for me at least. We got one on Blue Sky this time. It's from Sean the Glee Man. What up, Sean? Said, how many of you guys have actually read the chapter this movie is based on? Because it's pretty fascinating. I actually did. After you commented this, Sean, I read it. It's only, I think, 5 pages. And it is fascinating. It's definitely different. It's not the exact same story that we see, but it was good. It was fascinating. So I'm not going to read that whole book. No, but I could do 5 pages.
How long is that
book? Too long.
There you go.
Too long. On X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, Sean also said, I really, really enjoyed this movie. Pacing felt good. The tension was great. And I like the more animalistic look of Drac. I think I have it at an 8 out of 10. I'd have to go back and look. Kind of wish it hadn't set up a sequel, though. I get that. I don't think we're going to get a sequel because it lost so much money, but
yeah.
I think the ending was fine because, you don't have to have a sequel. It's just Dracula lived. Dracula's out there still killing, so I think that worked fine. And then Mike Wilson 1228 said underrated. I have to agree.
Facebook, we only have 2. Matt Sears, I enjoyed it, but probably a 1 watcher for me. And that's funny because he's such an Alien fan. And like you said, this was basically Alien on a ship. So that's interesting. Christina Tower, I really enjoyed this movie. It was fun and entertaining. I feel like it didn't deserve all the hate it got. I agree, Christina Tower.
Yeah, I don't get the hate either. Like, I mean, people got this TikTok attention span now. They can't watch a movie anymore. It's pathetic.
There you go.
All right, let's jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. Dustin, this is your movie. Do you want to go first or you want to go last?
Yeah,
Ricky
let me
Bobby?
go ahead and knock it out.
Go ahead.
Favorite kill for me was Oligard. It was our first look at one of them combusting, and I thought it looked awesome. Least favorite kill was Joseph. Like, it happened off screen and gave us a close-up of Dracula where the CG probably looked the worst in the movie. And he didn't deserve that, man. He was just trying to praise the Lord and get off that boat. As far as my final thoughts on the rating, it's not perfect. Some of the CG shots of Dracula didn't look great, like we've mentioned. And I mean, they spent so much time on the makeup, only to superimpose those CG looks on the eyes and the face. And I don't think it looked good. I would have liked to have seen the raw product. And it does slow down at times, but I think it's solid overall. I gave the movie a 7.5.
All right, I'll go next. I got the same favorite and least favorite kill as you, Dustin. I enjoyed the movie. I really didn't know what to expect. I saw the runtime. I was kind of like, Dracula movie, 2 hours long. Oh boy. But it was a big surprise. I really enjoyed it. The atmosphere was great. The acting was great. I was invested in the characters. I liked the usage of Dracula. If you would have told me 6 months ago I'd like this movie more than Nosferatu, I wouldn't have believed you. But I gave the movie an 8.
All right, my least favorite kill, I picked Joseph as well, just because it was off screen. I didn't think anything else was really wrong with it, except that I wanted to see more blood and guts. My favorite kill, I didn't really pick one. I just picked that there were so many throat slashes, so any one of those, I thought they all looked fantastic. I love this movie. Like I said, I feel like that if you were patient enough with it, it rewarded you with just some great characters, very intense sequences. You mentioned the atmosphere. Sometimes a movie just hits you right sometimes, and this one did. I love this. I don't know the last time I did this, but it gets a perfect 10 from me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll be honest, I held off on picking this movie for a while because I was like, I liked it, but I'm not sure that they will. I'm not sure if it's a good one for us to review, but I'm glad I finally picked it. With Mike's 5.5 that he gave me, that gives our composite score a 7.75. IMDb has it at a 6.1, Letterboxd 2.6, Rotten Tomatoes split down the middle, 50%. So, everyone has their preferences, I guess.
They don't know ball. Damn, perfect 10. Hell yeah, brother. I like this movie a lot too. But damn, all right, I respect it though. Guys, any final thoughts on the last voyage of the Demeter before I shout out our blood donors and I'll announce my next theme and Brian can announce the pick kicking it off.
Go
All right. Blood donors, I really appreciate y'all. I can't stress that enough. Help us pay these bills. Just know that your money is not going in our pockets. It just helps us pay. It costs a lot of money to run this thing. So we really appreciate y'all's help. Camper Level reoccurring, Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, and Matt from the UK. Camp Counselor reoccurring, Edward Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home podcast, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and Casey Smith. Like I said, we really, really appreciate you guys. It helps us a lot. My theme is next up. I chose another never seen it, haven't seen it month. We're all picking a movie that we have not seen yet, and Brian is up first. Brian, man, hates the 80s. What did you pick, brother? Sorry.
I have not seen this movie at all. So that's why whenever you picked it, or whenever you picked the theme for this month, I thought, man, this is the perfect time to pick this movie because I feel like after Alien, this now would be I want to say maybe the most popular movie that we've not ever picked. One of those classics that is just beloved by so many people. Again, I haven't seen it, so I have no idea, but I do plan on watching this and the remake because like I did The Fog, I might like the remake better. You never know. But I went with 1982's original Poltergeist, which is rated PG, which I just noticed. Well, that ought to be great.
Once you watch that movie, all you're going to see is the big black dick coming from underneath from the bed with the clown.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I was shocked that you had never seen this one too. That's why when you said it in the chat that you're picking, I was like, the remake? Because I can understand if you hadn't seen the remake, but
I've heard the Poltergeist remake is terrible. So
yeah, same. That's why I was like, oh god, I haven't.
I
seen
know
it
people
either,
say that about The Fog, and I like the remake better.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I feel like after Poltergeist, the only one left that's like from the 80s that we just have to get to is The Fly. So I'm glad we're knocking out Poltergeist.
We still got a couple from the 70s as well. Carrie, that's a classic.
Rosemary's Baby from
Rosemary's
68.
Baby.
That's 68, I think. So
yeah,
we need to do
Night
that
of the
one.
Living Dead. I mean, we got some classics we still haven't got to, but
we can always redo TCM 74.
Look, guys, let me know when you do that.
You're acting like it's Amityville Horror.
They're both pretty bad.
We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week with a new theme and Poltergeist. I'm excited to go revisit that one. I haven't seen it in a while. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. So maybe new eyes will like it. We'll be back next week. Jason X. Jason Lives. Halloween 4.
Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody,